in engineering in final sem.
Yes.
Sir, my question is, though I am a structural engineer after this master degree, correct me if I am wrong, why people think only about the prescribed job that a structural engineer can do? Why he can't think about the managing projects in the absence of project manager? And I have two more questions. Why can only specialized engineers in project management should manage projects? And what's your suggestion to the young engineers that everybody is in the project is responsible to complete the project successfully? Why should only project manager should look after the project? Why can't any other people who are in a higher position can manage the project in the absence of project manager?
Okay, I'll answer these questions one by one. Now,
Yes.
structural engineering, being a project manager, you're most welcome to do it. I have a lot of architects who are project managers, and a lot of lady architects who are doing project managers. A lot of women construction engineers who are project managers. Project manager is a way of life, is what I started with. Anybody can become a project manager. You, as a structural engineer, as an environmental engineer, as a geotech engineer, as a normal construction civil engineer, anybody can handle a project. It is not specific to the domain of what you have done in your BE and your masters, right? What is important is, without technical knowledge and managerial knowledge and skills, you will not be able to steer the project, right? So knowing that, either by experience or by training, you will be able to manage the project. You're most welcome to do it. Now, you said why everybody is responsible for delaying the project, why only a project manager? See, as I told you, there has to be one person responsible for everything. You cannot have multiple people driving a project. You cannot have that's what I said, chaos, conflicts, right? If you have 4 people giving decisions to one core site engineer, what will happen? There has to be one master. There cannot be multiple masters. I have worked in organization, I have worked in project where I was a project manager, but all my people under me were well educated, were more experienced than me, right? There are situations in the project that will happen. The project manager is a person junior age wise, whereas his team is consisting of people with more experience. You will have to embrace that situation, is what I'm saying. There can be only one project manager. Now, coming to your third question as to why senior management cannot manage the project. They can manage the project. I gave you an example where I was a vice president. I have managed projects as a project manager. Even general managers manage projects in large organizations. If you go and see, a lot of companies have general managers who manage multiple projects. So designation and managing a project are two different things. Don't mix it up. Project manager is somebody who drives the project, making all the decisions and managing the conflicts, right? It is not a designation, it is a role. Project manager, what I am talking about is a role. It's not a designation. I hope I answered you.
Yes. I think the next question is from Kirtiraj. What is the role of architect in PMC?
Two roles is what I have seen when I have worked with large architectural firms.
Okay.
There are, I talked about teams, right? I talked about teams make a project. Architect is one of the team member for you. Structural engineering organization is one of the team member for you. As a project manager,
one last thing, we do also have a project management subject in our engineering, but many people think just it is a subject. Why it can't be taken into a practical level?
I think same
Yes.
Praful got disconnected.
So I thank Mr.
Way of life, friend. Way of life. Project management is way of life. It is not. It is a subject. I agree. But one second. The question on architect. So architects and architectural firms are part of the project teams. They are one of the project stakeholders. Right? One. Second thing is, hello, am I audible?
Yeah, yes, sir. You can proceed.
Yeah. And the second thing is architects also do a lot of project management. As I gave you an example, I have a lot of project managers who are architects. In the initial stage, when I talk about the scope management, let me go back a few slides. If I can go back a few slides. If you see here, the very first thing is the scope management. The project starts with defining what is the scope, and that comes from the architects. Where is the scope in the project? The scope comes in different forms in a project. If I go deeply into scope, I'll take the first layer on scope. Scope is available in terms of drawings first. Scope is in form of specifications next. Scope is in form of contract documents next. Scope is in form of product specifications, product brochures of a lot of organizations. Scope is in form of IS documents. So everybody has a role to play in defining the scope in construction projects. So architect also has a role to play in defining the scope of work. Without drawings, you can't derive material bill of quantities or write specifications. So architects have the role to play in project management as far as scope is concerned. And those of you who are doing your architecture, I suggest and recommend you get into project management also. Drive projects, play it as a sport, love the sport that you are going to play.
Yes, sir. Actually, past 6 months before for SJP only, we conducted a program on construction management for the architects. What are the issues they are facing and how the projects to be managed. Bit of orientation we are given for a 2 weeks program. They can architects are required to take these kind of the project management and the construction related things so that they can know the others' work.
Yes. See, not just the scope, the quality management also
Yeah.
is part of, to some way, architects are connected, right? The resource management also, to some way, architects are connected. What if an architect say, I want a precast building?
Yes, sir.
The resources completely change.
Yes,
Resources is driven by what architects want,
yeah.
right? So there are a lot of management areas where architects play a greater role.
Yeah, they are the decision makers.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And getting that decision out of different people is project manager's job,
Yes,
because he is responsible for the time of the project. Flight has to go from A to B.
yeah.
There's a definite time, there's a definite path. And sticking to that path by the pilot is pilot's responsibility. He has to talk to ATC and say that my boarding is complete. Now I need to take off. Give me permission.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So getting decision on time is project manager's job. There are a lot of people who make decision in project. Architects are one of them.
Yeah. One person who is having a bit of experience on site, he is asking a question. Sir, I have only execution experience, no billing or quantity surveying. How it will affect my future to become a higher position as project manager?
I gave you an example of experiential learning and structural learning.
Yeah,
So you have got experience on site only on execution and supervision and monitoring,
exactly.
right? So if you have to now grow, you will have to look at other areas also.
Yes, sir.
If you dream of becoming a captain, you will have to know everything that is there in the control panel of your plane, and you should be able to operate it. So one of them is billing, quantity surveying, writing specification, understanding specification. All that comes under cost and procurement, right?
Mm.
So you should start looking at opportunities whenever you get time in going into depths of it. In site, nobody says that don't look at the tender documents. In site, nobody will say that don't take out quantities, right? Don't restrict yourself to your only role that you have. Try to keep your eyes, ears, and hands busy so that you try to groom yourself better. Every opportunity you get, you should be able to put your hands on it and start learning. If somebody is responsible for quality management, he will be doing the cube testing and all in the site laboratory. What stops you from going and assisting that person? What stops you from having a chit chat with him as to how he does his work? What are his challenges? What are his problems? How did he become that? What did he study? So look at your peripherals. I gave you an example of that person who was interested in law. So you look at the peripherals, you look at your interest, and then start learning about it.
In some cases, sir, what happens? The seniors are not supporting the juniors if they ask some information, because they think that if I share the knowledge, my seat will be in a different position. So that cases are there at the junior level. If 5 years experience guy is there, 1 2 years experience guy is there, if he needs some information from a little bit senior person, he is not supporting him. So
I agree. I agree. I agree.
on that case,
I can give you a strategy. I can give you a strategy. Nobody says that you should not talk to your colleagues in the site, isn't it?
yeah,
So when you're talking to your site, instead of talking every time about the latest movie in the town, you can always talk about what is happening in the project and start learning. One second strategy which I applied and I was successful was whenever there is a vacancy, you can apply for that. Whenever there is a leave somebody has put, you can say, "Can I fill in that position today? Can I attempt doing something for in that position?"
voluntarily they have to do it.
You have to. You have to invest time and money in your growth. Nobody else is going to do that for you.
They can quickly complete the job and they can do the others people. At least they can watch. This happened to me also. When 20 years before I was working in a hot mix plant. On that time, the billing engineer was resigned from Larsen and Toubro. So the billing is, the billing is a crucial thing where they have to get the money from the clients. Without billing, they can't do the things. The project manager called and asked me, "Boss, I will support you. Will you come to the office and start working on billing? You don't worry about it. I will teach you." It was around a 200 crores project. The final billing and other regular billing also has to be done. I immediately told, "Oh, yes, sir, I can do it. I can, if I get a support from you, definitely we can do it." So the project manager thought was this: if I ask my HR people to hire a new person, this person suddenly quit.
Ah,
It take 3 months. He has to
correct.
that in large organization it is very difficult to get a resource from the head office. If it is a small
Correct.
organization, they can manage.
So when you said seniors will not support, that is only in about 5 to 10% of the cases.
Yes, sir.
Most of the time, I have seen seniors supporting
Yeah.
because they want their job to be done. Who
Yes.
does is not their problem.
Yes. If,
So it is a possibility. It was only a question of you putting yourself forward as a candidate for that position or that work or that activity or that learning.
yes.
So you are gaining the learning, he is gaining the output.
And one more thing I will add to Mr. Manjunath. Manjunath, we are doing a weekend course only for this kind of a people. Not many people, even a person called Rudresh, recently he has appointed as a planning engineer in a leading company in Bangalore. But he has done a site execution. He doesn't know much about it. He took the opportunity from the company. He told us, sir, I will spend daily evening 2 hours and weekends with you. Why can't you teach us the planning? I can't ask because that company doesn't have planning systems. I have to establish. So he came to our institute. He is doing now with the help of online and offline training also. If you are interested, you can discuss with me offline after this program.
See, I again repeat, you will have to invest time and money on your growth.
Yeah.
Your growth, you think that it will automatically happen after you have got your degree? It will not happen. Degree is only a license to go to a job market. But after going to the job market, after getting a job, if you have to go higher, then you will have to invest time in yourself. There are large organizations which has made mandatory that monthly you have to, quarterly you have to learn 40 hours and give a certificate. Only then we will consider you for either an increment or a promotion and all. Why should that be a deterrent? I would say you start automatically doing it. Why should company tell you? You are responsible for your growth. Nobody else is. I was responsible for my growth. Whatever I am today, I can tap my chest and say I am responsible for whatever I am today. So your growth, your career, your future is in your hands. You either shape it or destroy it.
Recently, one more small incident also I want to share. When the Bangalore airport construction was started, the turner was the PMC and the contractor was the L&T. So they wanted the surveyors on the ground on the time when the HR has been asked for the people for relocation. The process took 3 months. In between, the project manager called and told Ashok, will you give 15 surveyors urgently? Like, I will give 10 days time.
Hmm.
Immediately we started the training of the people. He told, you give me a little bit of the training, initial level training, I will manage because the client is sitting on my head. The runway project has to be completed on 11 months. If I place a requirement for HR, he is taking time. So reskilling only is the way to come out of the project. The project manager takes the decision. That's why
That's why if you see my second point,
yeah.
it clearly says be discovery driven. You have to discover.
Yes, sir.
Unless and until you search, you will not be able to discover.
Yeah.
Be in that search mode. Keep looking at opportunities, what is available for you to learn. Learn what? Not just the subject, the skill also. Sorry. It is knowledge and skill. Just knowledge is not sufficient. You should be skillful also. So just having the spanner is not important. Having a spanner and knowing how to use it to change the tire is important.
And there's one more question from Kirti Raj. She's an architect, I think so. What are the different stages of project manager in a career role? She's asking.
Different stages of project manager.
Yeah, the question is like the different stages of project manager in a career role.
See, there is nothing as different stages of project manager. See, if I'll take you to this slide. See, if you have to become a complete project manager, you should know these 10 things, right? So these 10 things are your different stages is what you can say.
Yes.
So when you have to, there are a lot of people, I can tell you this way, there are a lot of people who have made writing specification as their career.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Right? Their job is actually when I was in late 90s, my job was only to write specification. Look at drawings and write specification. Look at drawing, write specification. In fact, structural glazing, when it came to India, I was the first person to talk to a lot of people in Singapore, talk to the supplier, write glass specification, write aluminium specification and all. So I was the first person to do that when structural glazing came into India. So I can tell you, a lot of people are in the area of writing only specification. So that could be your first step or one of the step, if not the first step. So there are a lot of people who are doing only cost management. There are a lot of companies or there are a lot of engineers. Just now you gave an example, a planning engineer.
Yes.
So time management itself is somebody's career.
Yeah.
Right? There are a lot of people who do only contract management, contract administration, writing specifications in a contract document. Contract document has got 3 sections. One is your technical, one is commercial, one is law. So if you know these 3 things, technical, you know, specification, BOQ, material specification, cost, estimate, all those things. Then you need to know the contract law. Then you need to know the commercials of the country, how GST works, how sale tax works, how income tax works, all the commercials. If you know these 3 sections, you can become a good commercial manager. That is the procurement area. Resources is any type of resources, man, men, material, everything. 4 M's. I'm sure you are taught about it.
Yes.
How to manage stakeholders, right? If you are becoming a project manager, if you know there are a lot of techniques like power versus influence. Somebody is powerful and influential. Somebody is powerful but not influential. Somebody is influential but not powerful. How do you manage these people in a project? So there are a lot of techniques in stakeholder management. That's one of the steps. There are a lot of risk managers in PMI. There is a risk management certification itself.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I tried actually.
So RPM is there.
Yeah.
So you can become a risk manager.
Yeah.
Lot of people who are good actually in the world. The highest paid guys after researchers and innovators are people who are in risk business. All the insurance companies have got risk managers with them. There are a lot of PMI certified risk managers in insurance companies world over. So managing risk, how to assess risk, how to analyze risk, how to quantify risk, how to mitigate risk, that itself is a large subject, which is one step in your phase or in your being a project manager. Now, communication is one another area where what are the different modes? When is a communication complete? What are different types of communication? So all this is another area which you can learn and apply. Then is the quality area. They are not in this order in which I have written or explaining. It is a interwoven project. Is all these 10 knowledge areas are all interwoven. So you can't decide scope without looking the cost and time. You can't look at the time without looking at the scope. So they are all interwoven. So quality itself is quality assurance, quality adherence, quality check, inspection, audits, documentation, ISO. There's so many things to quality itself. Then, as I said, when people are there in the project, there's a lot of changes that is managed in integration. How do you manage? Change is one part of it in integration. So how do you manage changes that happen in the project? There could be change in plan, change in time, change in contract, change in law, change in specification, right? Change in people, stakeholders change. Suddenly risks change. COVID came in. How do you integrate the situation into the project? That's integration. So there are different stages and steps. So you have to take one by one. It will take at least about 12, 13 years for you to become a full-fledged project manager if you go step by step. Else it will take about 7, 8 years. With your experience and your certification, you can fast track your project management career.
Sir,
Could you elaborate? I hope I answered that.
Yes,
query.
yes, sir. It was very detailed. And Dilip Gowda is having one this thing to say. Sir, I am Dilip, currently studying a MArch in construction project management. Can you explain? Can you please tell us various firms where we can look for internship as a project manager in Bangalore? He is pursuing MArch in construction project management.
MArch in construction project management. Sir, you can approach all those organizations which are large and have multiple projects. The best thing that I have seen where you can do internship very well is a contracting organization where you get various scenarios. So internship is all about looking at scenarios. It is not taking one subject and writing about it. You are going there to do internship to understand a lot of things. You're seeing multiple movies in a given space of time. So if you have to see multiple movies in one after the other, the best is to go to a multiplex, keep hopping the screens. Same way, if you go to a contracting organization, you will be able to get lot of scenarios where project management is knowingly, unknowingly, structurally or non-structurally being practiced. The large contracting organization, and that too in the field, is the best place to do it. Now, coming to names of the companies, I think you will have to take it offline from us.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. That's fine. Finally, Praful wanted to ask something. Last question. With this, we will end up our session, sir, because the questions also will be coming, and the time is also up. Lot many people wanted to go for other programs and all. Praful, yes, you can speak.
Yes, sir. Nowadays, in engineering colleges, there is only theoretical knowledge. We are not getting any practical knowledge in this engineering or any post graduation. I have to thank Engineer Ashok Kumar, sir, to providing such interesting and knowledgeable webinars.
Okay.
So we can have knowledge about various topics like project management, beam, waterproofing, so many topics. So from the students, I have to thank you, sir. Thank you so much
Thank you,
providing
Praful. With the
such.
support of people, we
Praful,
are able to do it.
add to what you are saying, Praful, to add to what you are saying, if you have a cookbook, you will not
Yes, sir.
become a chef, right?
Yes,
So
yes,
you
sir.
will have to start cooking to become a chef.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
And I don't know how many of you who are attending are good cooks or can cook well, which is edible, palatable. I'll tell you one thing which you keep it in your mind, which is actually very, very part of project management. I don't know how many those who cook will understand what I'm saying just right now. While cooking, you put salt. Without salt, your whatever you cook is very, very bland. But when do you add salt? Anybody can tell you how much to add salt. You will learn what via experience. But keep it in mind, there are different stages where you add salt. There are some dishes where you add salt in the beginning. There are some dishes where you add salt in the middle. There are some dishes where you add at the end of the completion of your preparation, right? So just because you know you have to add salt doesn't mean you know cooking, right? So you should also know when to add salt. That is the technique. The book will tell you the tool, what to use. Book will tell you have to add salt, but when to add, how much to add will come out of experience. That is the technique part of it, which you will know it only when you fold your sleeves, go into the trenches, dirty your hand for a few years.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Actually, your the program was very much practical, and you correlated with the lot of simple examples. I liked very much, and you told a few things. One is the college education is 5% only. It will helpful for the career, and the sweet spots, the low hints, high hints, the learnings, the 10 things, the knowledge areas where the people, and it is a very simple. Yeah, for the people also to get understand know detailed these things, and very it was a very nice session. I can say the people easy to understand the simple way you have expressed to our people. On behalf of Prayojana, I thank your wonderful time with us, and we will see many more session when you are available. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. I have last two words. If you see on your screen,
Yeah,
you have
something.
today's paper, which
Yeah,
talks about PMP certification, project management professional certification is the top 5
yeah.
in the world.
Fifth.
It is in today's paper, Times of India.
Yes, sir.
And lastly, I would say it doesn't matter what you are today. All that matter is where you want to go from here and how you want to go. So for that, please be mindful and so higher. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. It's 4 o'clock. We will end up, and thanks for coming in once again.
Thank you. Thank you.
For the
Thank you.
audience, also nearly 55 plus people participated the entire session.